one of the most common issues I see a lot of my past clients go through in their life, right? And either having had it be a part of their life from very early adulthood, even into later adulthood, right? And this has to do with low self-confidence, trouble making decisions, finding healthy ways to express their anger or their emotions that they have going on, finding themselves unable to disagree with people in positions of power over them, or even just expressing their displeasure with something, right? And these struggles are often just echoes of their troubled childhood, right? Where they may have faced a lot of verbal abuse, which is a form of emotional abuse. And this mistreatment is something that's invisible, right? But it leaves a lot of ingrained marks and knots in that person's psyche. And it's a very powerful form of emotional abuse because it can cast these long troubled shadows onto people's lives, right? Even years after it's already happened. And the impacts can truly be very devastating. And some of the most common symptoms that manifest are depression, heightened anxiety, even anxiety that can resemble PTSD, substance abuse, where they may begin to use drugs and alcohol to cope with this feelings that they have going on inside, right? And it can even lead to suicidal ideation, right? And moments of despair, moments of deep emotional pain that they may be going through. And often these individuals that have endured this, right, will carry all of these subtle signs later into their life. And they may go through surges of anxiety, surges of physical distress whenever they have memories of their childhood, right? Or whenever they're simply find themselves talking to their parents again, right? And these deep rooted scars that they have simply seem to feel like they're renewed, and the pain and the manipulation, the criticism that their parents may have done to them seem to resurface in those moments, right? And these forms of verbal abuse that they have gone through can range from narcissistic tendencies, where the parents may display a lot of self-importance, right? Aggrandizement, where they can't do anything wrong and they lack empathy for the child. Manipulative language, where words are used as tools to control or harm the child and to get the child to do what it is that the parent wants them to do. Another common one is scapegoating, where they shift blame onto the child for things that they had no control over, or that they couldn't possibly have had the either physical or emotional capacity to go through in an intelligent way, right? Because it's simply a child. And the even most common one that I've heard of is simply having memories of hearing their parents yelling at each other, yelling at their siblings, yelling at them, and just these terrible situations at home where it can even escalate into physical abuse, right? But unlike physical abuse, verbal abuse doesn't leave any physical scars or marks or any physical clue, right, that it's happening to a child. And this is what makes it so difficult to express to others and to find validation from others as a child or even as an adult later on, right? As these wounds are internal and they can foster a lifetime of self-doubt, self-blame, and confusion in the person that has gone through this. And if you are able to bring it up to somebody, usually they're going to say something like, oh, I went through that too. It couldn't, and look how I turned out. Or they'd simply try and downplay because it's not something that we consider very damaging, right? Because it's something that at one point may happen to everybody, but the severity of it and the intensity of it, the amount of times it happens to some people is a lot more than others, right? And it's a lot more damaging to others, just depending on their personality and how narcissistic the parent may have been towards them. So one thing that I find is that they also seem to harbor a lot of rage and anger towards their parents. And even if the parent is already older, right, they seem to never let go of these behaviors, these words, this manipulation that they used to do to the child, right? It's something that's very hard for somebody to come to grips with that they have done to their child. And most of the time they're very resistant to change. And as an adult, we still have that internal child inside of us. So any moment we are in front of our parents and we see them having these behaviors again, right? It brings up that pain, and that inner child is sort of brought to the forefront, and they feel this pain again, right? It's very real to them again. And the only difference is that now as an adult, you're not powerless, and now you have different options and choices to how you can engage with your parents and how you can heal and protect that inner child that we all have inside of us. So recognizing that these dynamics change and that we have more options, right, as an adult is the first step towards healing and finding a path that is going to allow you to be in alignment with self-care and establishing healthier boundaries that you can hold for your parents and anybody else that may be trying to act this way towards you, right? And from then on, you're going to be able to identify any situations where this comes up, right? And it inhibits you from being that person that is going to be able to acquire what they want for themselves, that future that they know they deserve, that happiness, that joy that you often put aside because of how much self-confidence you're lacking, how much you blame yourself for things, how much guilt or shame you feel for certain situations in life.